Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Quincy, and you're watching Winning with Quincy. If this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a valuable video. Now, in my last video, I showed you how you can automate your Facebook marketing leveraging Ubot. Today, I'm going to actually dive into a bot that I built to actually scrape every single member in a group, get their Facebook ID, their location, and if you would like to get additional information, you can use the processes I'm going to show you in this video to do that, okay? This is going to be very valuable to those that have actually taken action. And if you're on the fence, you're kind of intimidated by Ubot Studio, this is going to be a tutorial style video. It's going to be a little bit different from what I've shown. And I'm going to actually walk you through the process. I think a lot of you are actually a little intimidated by automation and you think that this is really complicated. I'm going to actually show you how simple this is, how quick you can get the information you want and create processes that will allow you to free up a lot of your time, okay? The thing that I love about this software is that it's very simple once you know the concepts, once you know the processes, and all it's going to take is you just getting in, taking action, and going after it. It's going to free up a lot of your time and give you that passive income that you're actually looking for sooner than expected, okay? So without further ado, I'm going to hop into my computer and I'm going to show you the process step by step, okay? But before we get into that, would you like to make 100% instant commissions? Well, my #1 recommended opportunity is on fire right now. Newbies are crushing it, established marketers are crushing it simply by taking action. Crystal took action and within 2 hours of joining made her first sale. This is hot, okay? Forbes estimates that the e-learning market will reach $325 billion by 2025. So many entrepreneurs are crushing it reselling digital products. Take action today and get your slice of that pie. Even if you haven't had success in the past, this system has massive duplication and leverage built into it. I mean, every sale has the potential to make additional sales for you. Take action today. Click the first link in the description. Alright, now let's get back to the tutorial. So now that we're in my computer, the first thing we're going to do is make a custom command and we're going to set my proxy. So we're going to do a define command. Now this isn't necessary if you just have one Facebook account, but I like to do this scraping type of thing on a separate Facebook account. So I create a different Facebook account and I do my scraping operations on that, and then I use the data that I get from that to actually send messages and like, comments, engage with users on my actual profile. But the scraping part I like to do on a separate profile. All right, and so now what we want to do is we want to change our proxy. All right, now if you do not have a proxy or you want a proxy, the proxies I use are actually from private proxies. I'll leave a link in the description for that. And they're actually private residential proxies. So you're not going to get flagged as a commercial account or your IP address is from a commercial address. These are actually private residential proxies. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set our proxy credentials. And of course I am blurring all this out so you don't see any of my information. Alright. Alright, so now we're going to create a new actual tab, and the first thing we want to do is navigate. Navigate, right? We're going to actually drag in our custom command above that. So we're going to go okay, and then we're going to go custom command set proxy. Just so you can see that this will change. We're going to do what is my IP. and this is my IP. Alright, so now if we run this, it resets. As you can see, it is different. Alright, so my IP address is different. Now what we're going to do is go to facebook.com. Alright, we're going to run that. Alright, and so now what we want to do is, if this screen actually pops up, we want to actually log in. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to do an if exists. Okay, so we want to do an exists command in here, and if this login button exists, then we're going to actually log in. Alright, now if you do this multiple times, then your profile will probably stay logged in, but if not, then this is actually how it will actually log in. So simply put your login credentials in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click login. Alright, now we're going to leave our else commands blank, because if this page doesn't exist, or if this login button isn't shown, then it'll just continue on. Alright, so let's run this, and now it actually logs in. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to delay the bot a little bit. So we're going to put a wait command, and we're going to wait for element. Alright, underneath this if statement, what we're going to wait for is this actual groups icon. Okay, so we're going to drag this here, and we're going to click on that. Okay, so we click here. Alright, and then what we want to do again is we want to wait for an element, and the element we want to wait for is going to be this see more. Okay, so once we're there, what we want to do is we want to click on this. So what we're going to do is do a click command. Now I can drag it over, or I can just pull it from the actual search, and then we use the green arrows to click here. Alright, let's run this. And what we're going to look for is just one of the groups that we're actually in. Okay, so let's click on this Make Money Online group. Once again, we want to wait for an element, and the element we want to wait for is the members inner text. And then we want to click there. Alright, so we just drag that here. Alright, we're going to click here. And so what we want is all of the members in this group. Okay, now there are pages in this group. I think, yeah, there's pages in this group, and we don't want those. Okay, so what we want to do is, with Facebook, you have to scroll down to get more data, right? You have to scroll down to get more members. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a loop command in here to actually scroll down, scrape everything, all the members that are in this group, scroll down, and keep doing that until we reach the bottom. Now, we're really not going to reach the bottom with this, so we got to kind of guess on how many loops we're going to actually do. So we'll just put a loop in here, and we'll do it, 30 times just to demonstrate this. Okay, so what we want is we want to scrape attributes. Okay, so we're going to create a list. We're going to add list to a list. Okay, and what we want to create is member IDs, right? And what we want to do is we want to scrape attribute, and we want to actually scrape these actual links. Okay, so what we're going to do is hover over just one of them, and as you can see when you look at this is a data card, right? Your data card is a user PHP. Okay, now if I were to look at a page, it's going to say page PHP. Okay, now everything after the ID equals changes. Okay, so if we go back to a user, we have a user PHP, right? So we want to click this gears icon. We want to go into the data, what was that? The data hover card. Yeah, the data hover card, And we don't want an exact match because we just don't want to scrape one. We want to scrape all of them. So we're going to go to a wildcard, and then after the ID equals, we want to select everything until the end of the code. Okay, so right before the quotation marks and this end little sign here, you want to put an asterisk. Okay, so everything that's going to change is after the ID sign and right before the quotation marks. Okay, then we hit OK. All right, now the thing that we want to scrape is their actual full href. That's going to give us their Facebook IDs. Okay, so let's look at our debugger. Now our debugger keeps all of our data. All right, so we're going to minimize this so that when it pops up, it's not taking all our whole screen. Okay, so right now we have 0 items. Once I run this, it's going to get 117 items, and we have all these Facebook IDs. Now these are all rough. Okay, we're gonna refine these later on. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to continue scrolling down the page, and what we're gonna have to do is we are going to actually put a little bit of JavaScript in here. Okay, now don't get overwhelmed and don't get intimidated, all right, because I'm going to show you exactly what you need to enter here. All right, so we're going to do a run JavaScript. We're going to drag that inside of this loop, and what we're going to type is window dot scroll to, open your parentheses, 0, document period body dot scroll height, close your parentheses, put a semicolon. Okay, alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just run this and it scrolls down. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to slow down the bot a little bit. We're going to just wait about a half a second, and then it's going to continue with the looping. Okay, so let's do that, and actually let's build our table now. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this list to table as a column. All right, and the table we're going to call it is let's go member IDs. Okay, the starting row is going to be 0, and the starting column is going to be 0. The list to add is going to be the member IDs that we just created. Okay, so this is going to create a column. All right, and then what we want to do is we want to save this file as a CSV. All right, so we're going to click browse. If this is the location we want to save it to, we just copy the location here. All right, we're gonna X out of this, we're gonna put it here, then we want to do another backslash, name it whatever you want, member IDs .csv. okay, all right, and then the content to save is going to be this table, this member IDs. All right, so we're going to go in the tables, we're going to go member IDs. Okay, now we're going to move this down to the bottom so that as this is going through, it's doing this in order. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run this. We got to finish all of the nodes before, so we are going to run this, and we're going to look at our debugger as it's going through. So now we have, 378. We'll get a good amount of these Facebook IDs, and then what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to each one of those and actually get the actual member's name, their true ID, because this is a little messed up, and as you can see, we do have multiple duplications here. So what we can do is get their actual IDs, and then we can delete the duplications. Okay, so we've got about 845 items. Now if we wanted to, we could run this again and it would continue getting more actual members, and of course this is saving every single time it goes through, so we are saving our progress. Okay, once this is done, we are going to build out the bot that would actually go to each one of these and get their actual name, their actual location, any other data that you would want, but I'm just going to show you their name and location. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is we are going to set up a couple things. Okay, so what we want to do is set a variable. So the row is going to vary every time we go through this table. The column is going to stay the same. Alright, so we're creating a variable for the row. Alright, and then what we actually want to do is I'm going to show you this actually working. So we're going to create a UI stat monitor. Alright, we're going to name this row, and the content to track is going to be the actual variable we created, the row. Now let me scroll down here and show you this. Alright, so when I run this, as you can see, the row is set to 0. Alright, now we're going to create a loop. Alright, and the number of cycles is going to be dependent on the actual table that we have. So we're going to do a table total rows, and the table we're going to select is members IDs, and then that way it cycles through the amount of times that we have rows in this column. Alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to navigate. Alright, and we are going to delete everything in here, and we're going to do table cell. We're going to do table cell. We're going to go to the member IDs. Now our row is going to vary, so we're going to drag our row variable in there, and the column is going to be constant, so we're going to put a 0 here. Alright, so let's hit OK. Let's hit OK here. Let's actually run this. So we're on Steve's page now, and Steve gives us some information. Remember, Facebook is a publicly traded company, so any information that you put out in the public is accessible to any and everyone. Alright, so right now what we want to do is clean up the actual Facebook ID. So if you look at anybody's name on their Facebook page, if you click there, you actually get their Facebook ID and the URL. So what we want to do is actually get this data. So we want to scrape this data, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a list. Add list to list. Alright, and what we're going to call it is members true IDs. Alright, and what we want to do is we want to scrape attribute, and we want to direct it to this. Alright, now you want to make sure it pulls up the class, okay, because this will never change. Right, this is always going to be the class. Alright, so the attribute we want to scrape is going to be the full href. Alright, now when we run this, we will get one actual listing. Okay, so, and we have Steve's actual user ID. Let's add this to a column, and also let's get his actual name. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this, and what we're going to do is we are going to, instead of scraping his href, we're going to actually scrape the inner text. Alright, and then we're going to copy this up. We're going to copy, we're going to paste, we're going to edit this. The starting row is going to be our variable, and then the column actually is going to be 1. And what we want to actually, the list we want to add is going to be something different. So what we want to do is we want to edit this. This is going to be member name. We want to do member name, and then we want to edit this again. We're going to drag in our variable. We're going to put this in the row 1, and we want to scrape the member name. Alright, so once we run this and we run this, now our table should have 2 rows with Steve's username, Facebook, with Steve's Facebook ID and his actual name. Alright, now the third thing I want is where he actually lives at. Okay, now this data is going to be useful if I'm running a CPA offer or something that only pays me because of location, right? So if I want to run traffic to a specific offer from Facebook and I only want to target people that are, in a Facebook group, which is, niche specific, and they are actually living in a specific location, if I can get their actual place that they live in, that will help me. All right, so what we want to do is we want to get where he lives in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a add list to list. All right, and we're going to drag that here, and what we're going to call this is member location. All right, we're going to scrape attribute once again. Scrape attribute, and what we're going to scrape is where he lives in. Okay, so inner text lives in. All right, so we want this to scrape every single time. We just don't want it to always say this. So what we do is we click on this gears icon, and we are going to get the inner text. Actually, we want that class. No, we don't. We want that inner text. All right, it's going to say lives in, and actually, instead of that inner text, we want the inner HTML. Okay, so what we want is we're going to go to a wildcard, and everything is going to be the same, right? It's going to say it's going to have this profile link, href, facebook.com, and then everything after this /. Let's look at this one more time. Yeah, it's going to say facebook.com pages, and then this is going to change. All right, so every time that changes, we want to go to the end of this code, and right before the less than sign, we want to put an asterisk. So then we click OK, and what we want to scrape is the inner text. Then we click OK. All right. So once we run this, we look at our debugger. We have one location, and it lives in this. All right. So if he doesn't provide his location, then we're not going to be able to scrape this. Okay, so this won't always populate. All right, so once again, what we're going to do is we are going to edit. We're going to duplicate this, and we're going to put this here. We're going to edit it. We're going to put it in the same table, same row. We want column 2, and what we want to do is get the member location. All right, so we're going to run that, and now our table should have 3 items. All right, so as you can see, or maybe you can't see because I need to expand, we have 3 columns. We have Steve's true ID, we have his name, and we have the place that he lives in. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to loop through this whole thing and do this over and over and over again. But before we do that, we want to clear each one of these lists that we have. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a clear list command. We're going to drag this all the way down. Since I dropped it there, it's going to just do that. So we're going to do member true IDs. All right, we're going to put this here. Let's copy this, paste it, edit it. We're gonna clear the member names, paste it one more time, edit it, and we want the member location. So we want to clear all that. All right, now we want to increment, and we want to increment the actual row so that the row goes to the actual next one. So we want to actually drag this variable in here instead of typing it in, because if I typed in a lowercase ROW and then I have a variable that's capital ROW, it's not going to be the same. Okay, so it is case sensitive, right? So if I run this, that changes to row 1, and then if I go up here and then run this, it's going to change to Mike's information. All right, so let's just instead of actually cycling through the actual total number of rows. We're going to just do this about 10 times, okay? Just so I could demonstrate it. But I wanted to show you how you would actually set it up so it'll go through your whole actual table. All right, so we're going to run this. And it's going to go through and get all of Mike's information. Oh, see, now it's missing this actual command. Okay, so I think I found our issue. So in each one of our add list table, as a column nodes, we have our actual variable, okay, except for this one, which is scraping the member IDs. So what we have to do is we are going to change that starting row to the variable. All right, so what was happening is that we were changing every Facebook ID as the 0 instead of the one that it actually belongs to. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually start this process completely over. We're going to edit this. We're going to set this to 0. What we're going to do is we're going to clear our table. We're going to clear our table. We're going to clear the true member IDs table. And we're going to pull up our debugger. As you can see, we have 0 rows, 0 columns. And then we are going to set our row. And we're going to loop through once again. And we're going to see this actually build out. Alright. So now it's actually getting the data that we're looking for. And it's putting it in the proper location. Alright. So I hope that you saw just how easy it was to get information from Facebook with Ubot Studio. Alright, in the next video, I'm going to walk you through sending messages to members. We're going to show you how to set up random likes so you can engage with individuals before you send them a message. And I'm going to also show you how to put random delays in your bots so that it doesn't look so robotic. Alright, you want to have a little bit of randomization in your automation so that it's not picked up as a bot. Okay, so if you're not subscribed to the channel, click that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a valuable video, and I will see you on the next one.
Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't.